I lost custody of my children. My woman is strung out on heroin. I'm arrested in in a holding cell in Chicago PD. I'm like, how the hell did I get here? And it was a decision. It's do or die time, right? It's like, okay, what are you going to do now? Are you going to blame your dad for not hugging you enough? Are you going to blame your parents for how they showed up? Are you going to blame society, your failed acting career? Are you going to, whatever, right? Blame God? Or are you going to like nut up and actually take responsibility for yourself in your life? And are you going to do something about this?
Well, we're here in your first episode of your podcast, The Restored Man podcast, but you only have 20 minutes. So you have to chop it up and think of it in sections. So then you're like, all right, this section of my life, this section of my life, this section of my life, and try to get to the point where why is it that you do what you do? And then I'll just be here to listen and probably ask you some questions along the way.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, I don't want to tell the whole story. It's really not that important. But what is important is um, that I spent the majority of my life afraid. I spent the majority of my life afraid, right? And found different ways of masking that or dealing with it, you know? But I also was a really happy kid too. It's simultaneously, right? We're complex and dynamic creatures. And I loved people. Everybody was my best friend. My mom was like, she said everyone was my best friend and I'd fall in love all the time. Si una escoba puso un blusa, right? Te enamoras. Así. You know what I mean? If a broom put
Yeah.
on a skirt, you fall in love with it, you know? And I was like, man, shut up. I'm kidding. I didn't say shut up to my mom. I'm like, not at that age. Oh my God. Ah! Anyway, but I say for the majority of my life, I was like just obsessed with making friends and, you know, entertaining, right? Like I would sing and dance all the time. I performed a Will Smith song at karaoke in third grade. Do you remember when Millennium came out? Will 2K? You remember that?
Oh, dude, that's a long time ago.
Yeah. Yeah. It was 1999 and 2000, right?
Yeah. Oh my God. Uh-huh.
And it was Will, and he named the album Millennium. And I was obsessed. I was obsessed with getting jiggy with it. I was obsessed with this album. And so they're like, we're doing a talent show. I was in third grade. And I was like, can I do this song? I don't know what that teacher was on, but she said yes. And the song was called Freak This. Okay. It was called, I'm in third grade. And she had like these backup dancers and she had like all the girls like be at the front of the stage jumping up like they were like a crazy crowd, right? And I was like, Madre de Dios, si una escoba puso un blue skirt, me enamoro, así, you know? And bro, I still remember to this day, I had a really, really loud silver shiny fucking jacket, right? And I put that thing on, and it was the lamest, most adorable rap concert ever. Because I got my homeboys, I had my friends on stage, awkwardly standing there, and I had all of the girls of the class at the front of the stage waving their hands in the air like they just didn't care, right? And I had my microphone, you know, and like imagine this voice in third grade, okay? So Will Smith is like down here in this register, right? I'm about to freak this full out, the king of the hill, right? You know, lower register. Then you have me. I'm about to freak this full out, the king of the hill, Big Will, keeping it real, links to the grill, the whole set on lockdown, making you pop down to where I'm at to hear my rap. I be that cat that said trends. Where y'all at? On the corner with your friends. Heard you screaming about cream in your rap, kid. Well, my last check on Wild Wild West came on a flatbed. Once and for all. Anyway, I'm done. But that was it. I was like, I loved being on stage. I loved being the center of attention. I absolutely loved just performing. And so I went to an acting school. I left high school, small town, Lompoc, aka Nobody Cares, California. I went over to Manhattan. I went to the American Musical and Dramatic Academy.
Okay.
It's,
So it
it's
was in
basically
you.
Julie. What?
It was in you from a young age, from
Yeah,
3 years old.
yeah,
Performance
100%.
in front of people. Okay.
Yeah, 100%. And God is hilarious. And I'm going to explain why in a second. But so and AMDA, the American Musical and Dramatic Academy, for my money, is one of the greatest conservatories for actors and artists that want to become Swiss Army knives, right? Like they train you for everything: tap, jazz, hip hop, modern
Oh, wow.
dance. Right? They train you to be a musical theater performer. They train you to be a professional actor, studio, all that, like a weapon. And it was incredible. We had people like Chris Jackson, who was in The Heights, right? And he was also in the original cast of Hamilton. He was George Washington. He actually came from that conservatory, and a lot of really really talented people came from there, and me. Obviously, something went very well because my name is in lights, and I'm a Hollywood movie star. But
Man,
no,
that's
I'm
crazy.
kidding.
How many people go through that course? It's probably quite popular.
A
Like, how
lot.
many people
It's a
go through it?
lot. It is. I jokingly call it the Diet Coke Juilliard, but honestly, like it kind of is. Like Juilliard is where Juilliard would be Harvard, right? You know what I'm saying? You know, and I would say that AMDA would be like whatever the second college that people think about after Harvard. You know what I mean? Could be like Stanford, Columbia, whatever, like, some tech school, whatever. But I go there 2 years, I get trained, have some crazy experiences. I'm 17, mind you, right? I don't know my ass from my elbow, but I know everything about the world and nobody can tell me nothing, right? I get my ass kicked from New York. I come from Lompoc, California, dude. Like the biggest thing that we had was a football like stadium. You know what I'm saying? And so I go to Manhattan and I have no idea how to handle my money. I have no idea how to handle my emotions, right? I know how to make friends, absolutely, but it was like I get my butt kicked from Manhattan, I come back to California, and I go to City College, Santa Barbara City College, to be part of their film, TV, and theater programs. And I'm getting like groomed, but in a good way, like not in a Diddy way, but like I'm being groomed by my teachers to like become a professional playwright. And they were like, "You have a voice, and you're funny, and you write these interesting stories." And da 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 da. So having some plays performed. I'm part of a sketch comedy troupe called Funny Business, right? And then you know, I meet the love of my life, right? At 23, we go on a date. It's Valentine's Day. We watch the Lego movie. We have Italian food, and then we just happen to take the exit 96 off of the freeway for the remainder of the evening. And that's how my son is born, right? Think, boom, hey, I'm pregnant. Oh my God.
Wow, that was
And I'm
fast.
20. Yeah, I'm 24, right? And she was a single mom too. She already had a 1-year old.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
I fell in love with that kid. His name is Harrison. He's my oldest son, right? Harry. And I remember this clear as day. I was the president of drama club and I was holding court, right? I was holding the meeting, and this kid walks up to me, this little bundle of the brunette. He looks like Charlie Brown, and he's like, man, just lifts his arms up and he picks me, basically to be his father, essentially, right?
Mm,
So I'm like, how do I spend more time with him without going to jail? Probably
right.
the
Oh my
mom.
gosh.
So I'm kidding, by the way. I'm kidding. I'm kidding for everyone listening in.
But where was the dad?
He had some troubles with like addiction and stuff. He's since cleaned his life up, and he's a fantastic father now, but he was going through a really rough patch, right? Like living under a bridge shooting up into your forehead type, you know
Okay.
drug addiction. And
So you go to
then yeah.
let's recap. Just recap shortly. So you went to acting schools, some of the top schools for acting and artistic. How would you call that? Performance arts,
Yeah, I mean musical theater school essentially.
musical theater school. Okay, musical theater school. Then you went back to California, and you went to another acting school as well.
I went to the Santa Barbara City College. I went to Santa Barbara City College, right? And I was in their performance program and met Liv. We end up having a kid. She already had one. And now I'm 24 years old, working for 12 bucks an hour at a zoo, right? And now I have two kids. And I'm like, It was so interesting how every adult in my life told me that my life was over. That was really big for me. I was a very, very impressionable young man, right? Like I was very gullible. You tell me that gullible is written on the ceiling, I look up, and we're outside in a park. You know what I mean? Like, bro, we're outside. Oh yeah, it's written in the clouds. You got to look around. What? Right? Very, very gullible. And I was very impressionable. So, my parents tell me my life is over. Her mother tells her that her life is over. It's like, okay, well, no more performance for you. Right. And this is important because this is the power of
Okay.
belief. The power of belief is so strong. I didn't lose anything because I don't regret a single day with my kids. I regret how I show up, how I've shown up for them. I don't ever regret them. Right. I am a man that loves having a family. But belief is really powerful because everyone's like, your life is over. And it triggered what was deeper than me, which is that, oh, once you have kids, it's not about you anymore. Right. And I took that to mean all the way to screw you, Richard. You don't exist anymore. You don't matter. Go get a job that'll pay you and make sure that you can pay your rent, feed your kids. Fuck you, essentially, right? Is really the message that I heard and that I internalized. So I spent years just working Domino's Pizza, eating a lot of pizza, getting fat, being angry, right? And I'm like complaining about having this family. And I'm like, you guys kept me from my dreams. And like I could have
Mm.
been something, right? Blah, blah, blah. I was an asshole. I was a big, fat asshole, right? And it wasn't even their fault. Nobody asked to be born, right? Nobody asked for Olivia and I to have sex off of in a Honda Civic, right? Off of an exit. And so I, you know, I made life a living hell for my family for a couple of years. And then, my partner at the time, she relapsed on drugs. She relapsed on heroin. She's like, I can't take it anymore, you know? And then extended family finds out that she's relapsed. I don't know what to do, right? I'm terrified. Like again, most of my life I've been afraid of just people being displeased. I've been afraid of conflict. I've been afraid of standing up for myself or for anyone else. Right. So I was very much a follower in my life for a long time. And she's very strong. She's very opinionated, she's not afraid of conflict, right? So she's like, I need this in order to keep running this house, right? In order to keep raising these kids, in order to have the energy to do that. And slowly but surely our life crumbled into this really big, dangerous, not fun episode of Train Spotting. It was a Tarantino film. It's like it was a nightmare, right? There's like food, trash, clothes all over the floor. I can barely see it. She's in the bathroom. I'm working Domino's Pizza and I'm like coming back home. This is just not a good look. It was not a good feel. You know what I mean? It was not a healthy environment for children. So extended family calls Child Protective Services. We find out about it, right? We run. We run away from Child Protective Services. We leave California. We hide in the middle of the country with her best friend over in Illinois, right? We get caught. Okay. We get arrested for kidnapping our own kids. They take our children. Right? We had another kid, Helena, right? My baby girl. They took all three of them from the middle of the country, flew them back to California. And they're like, hey, we have what we need. We don't need you anymore. Right. And they just left us in Chicago. And it was at that point where I realized that I hadn't been driving the bus of my life. John Maxwell, he says, a lot of people tolerate their lives. Not a lot of people lead their lives. It was really then that I realized I hadn't been leading my life, I've been tolerating it. So all that that was probably the biggest before and after of who I am now in my life, right? Is like I lost custody of my children. My woman is strung out on heroin. I'm arrested in a holding cell in Chicago PD. I'm like, how the hell did I get here? Right. And it was a decision. It's do or die time, right? It's like, okay, what are you going to do now? Are you going to blame your dad for not hugging you enough? Are you going to blame your parents for how they showed up? Are you going to blame society, your failed acting career? Are you going to, whatever, right? Blame God? Or are you going to like nut up and actually take responsibility for yourself in your life? And are you going to do something about this? And so I chose, right? I chose to fight for the first time in my life. I chose to take ownership and be like, okay, I didn't know how to take care of my family. I didn't know how to take care of this woman. I didn't know how to take care of myself, how to lead my life. Okay. And now I have to learn how. So where does that lead? That leads me to Google. It leads me to going on YouTube, right? It leads me to like how do I get custody of my kids back? And it was so funny. Like I'm so grateful that the judge pretty much she gave me a curriculum. Get your life together, right? Learn how to make money, get a home, get a functioning car, and learn how to be a parent. Grow up, Richard. You know what I mean? Grow up. Like you're 30, 31 years old, bro. Right? You're 31, 32 years old. Like, what are you doing? So I get the biggest bitch slap on ever from this judge, and she gives me this curriculum. Grow the hell up. And so I'm like, all right, how do I do this? So I start asking the most responsible men, most successful men that I know. One of the first ones, John Michael Clark, right? He runs a program called The Family Captain. He
Mm.
was one of the first mentors that I ever had that was like, hey, it's time to return to God. It's time to understand what masculinity is. It's time to understand your role as a man in the life of your family. Finding those things out are what changed my life. I didn't know what it meant to even be a man, right? I didn't even think that that was important. I'm just Richard. I'm just singing and dancing. I'm just me, right? But but one of the biggest lessons was it's important to find out who you are in life. It's important to decide who you want to be. It's important to create yourself. But one of the ingredients of creating yourself is making peace with the fact that you were created by God with intention. You were you were you were put into this suit for a reason. You know what I mean? So what am I? A male, a man. Like what am I attracted to? Why? I was designed with specific instincts, right? To and I want to what? Protect. I want to provide. I want to preside over my family. I want to take care of my tribe. I want to hunt. I want to go and bring meat back to, my cave and take care of my little ones. What is that called? What is that called? And how do I tap into that energy? That's what took me down the path of identifying masculine leadership, finding out what it really means to be a man. Now, I know that that can feel or sound nebulous, and it's like, well, who cares, right? Like, we're all just people. No, no, we're not, right? We are all just people, but we're also different. And for me, learning to reconcile and learning to accept and celebrate what it is that makes me different, right? As a man from my partner, a woman, right? From Olivia, and seeing these different roles that we get to play. We get to play. We don't have to play, but we get to play. Changed everything, right? Not knowing what it meant to be a father, not knowing what it meant to be a husband, not knowing what it meant to really be a man who's bleeding his life, cost me my family. Finding out helped me get it all back. Because one of the first tenets of leadership, right, of grow masculine embodiment, of being an adult and being an adult man for me is radical responsibility. And like my mentor taught me, the difference between a boy and a man is a boy, um, he is taken care of, right? You have mom, she kisses your boo boo. She makes sure that you eat 3 square meals a day, right? Your dad protects you, he builds the house. You have these people that are just always taking care of you. You got the bottle, and you're like, oh, if I make a mistake, right, over in school, if I break something, my parents will pay for it, right? If I do anything out in the world, I'm not going to have to face the consequence of it. My parents do. They're like the shield. And then when they're gone and you're growing up, now the shield is gone, right? So I was facing the consequences of my actions. I lost my kids, right? I got arrested, like real things happened. And so I went from needing to be taken care of to learning how to take care of myself
Hmm.
and others, right? And that was the process that I went through on growing up, on identifying that I have energy, that I have access to an energy that makes me feel good, that makes me feel authentic, this masculine energy of I can be grounded in the face of chaos and I can create money based off of ideas in my head. I can learn skills. I can learn to sell, right? I can learn to provide value. I can learn to go hunt and bring back, a buffalo, right? And I could learn how to provide. And I'll end with this on that part of it is just the judge said, get your life together. And I fought like hell and I surrounded myself with very, very, very powerful men who had their life together. And I just learned from them. I absorbed everything I could. And at the end of the day, one of the common thread amongst all these men that embodied traits that I wanted to be, that I wanted to have, and I wanted to give to my kids was a man leads. A man leads. Doesn't mean women can't. Doesn't mean your wife can't. Doesn't mean that I can't have a female boss, right? Doesn't mean I can't have a female president. None of that shit has anything to do with the fact that a man who cares about his family, he needs to lead. Why? Because it's a need. We want to be the driving force of our lives, and we want to be the ones who give the most. And so, in order to do that, we need to be the ones who take the most responsibility. That was the biggest lesson for me.
Whoa.
That's what helped me get my kids back. That's what helped me, get a home and where we're in now, and get my family back.
Wow. Bro, that was crazy. That was an incredible story. Oh my God. I love the way you told it.
Hmm. Thank you for listening.
You were in there. You were totally in there. Thank you for that. Thank you for sharing.
Yes, sir.
Beautiful. And so when did the restored man come to be then? At what point between
Uh,
John Michael, how long was John Michael and then what happened after that?
Yeah, he was like right at the beginning of like I came back from California from Chicago and I'm like, I'm homeless, I'm living in my car. I need to get custody of my kids and I don't know what to do. And he's like, fall to your knees and pray, right? Like return back to the source, return back to God. That was the best advice I ever got. Humble yourself, right?
Mm,
Learn how to listen to the voice of God within you. Some people call it intuition, right? I call it intuition, the Holy Spirit, whatever you want to call it, dude. But there's an intelligence to life itself that cares about you, that loves you without condition, that wants nothing but good for you. Lao Tzu calls it the Tao, right? George Lucas calls it the Force, you know, and it's that energy that and Christians will call it Yahweh, God, whatever, right? Connecting to the intelligence of life will have you feel like you're on purpose, like you matter, like you're connected to something bigger than yourself, and that you're guided. Right. So I fell to my knees and I prayed and I opened my heart to wisdom. And then men started coming into my life and they started teaching me and pouring into me, giving me money, giving me power, giving me lessons, courses, inviting me to one of my first masculinity mentors, Sanyika. Shout out to Sanyika. The fire starter, he invited me to something called the initiation. The initiation was it was a 2-week process of doing incredibly hard things, right? And the masculine men grow through challenge, right? We're not going to grow by just like being coddled or taken care of or just we grow through challenge. So it was the most challenging 2 weeks of my life. We had to make like 100 phone calls, right? We had to burn 500 calories a day. We had to read a book in a week. We had to crush it in every area of our life, every area. And if you did it, right, you're out. You don't get to play this game. And I would rather die than let him down, and I would rather die than not get it done, right? So that helped me to become initiated. It taught me do hard things, feel good, you can do harder things, right? Same applies to the gym. The same rules apply. The gym is life. You know what I mean? Like the gym really is life, dude. Like you start to lift like 5 pound dumbbells. Okay, cool. I can do this. Wow. I'm actually eating my chicken and my rice, right? I'm drinking my water. I can lift 10 pound dumbbells now. I can lift 50. I can lift 100, right? Life is very much the same way. For men, our job, okay, I'm taking care of myself. Cool. I can wash my ass, clean my room, and I wash my own dishes and work a job. Cool. I can take care of that. Oh, now here comes this woman. Okay, can I take care of her? Oh, now there's these kids. Can I take care of them? Oh, now there's my family. Can I take care of them? Oh, now's my community, right? Bigger, 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 bigger. All men, we want a big life. It doesn't have to be my version of your big life, right? But we all want a big life. We want it to matter, to mean something. In order for that to happen, you have to be able to have capacity for it. I had no capacity. But these men broke me open and they challenged me. They ground my ego down to nothing, right? And they're like, now we're going to help you build yourself back up. And one of the things that I have learned, I was like, why me? Why are you pouring into me? Like, what is it about me? Why do you give a shit? Every single one of them were like, because someone did it for me, because someone else poured into me when I didn't feel that I deserved it, when I was at rock bottom. Men are beautiful, brother. Men want to contribute to each other naturally. And so it was like a talisman, right? It was like a baton. They're like, hey, we've poured everything that we have into you. Some of us for free, some of us you've paid, right? But you have invested. Now we're handing this over to you, right? The responsibility of learning what the hell it means to be initiated, to be responsible, to be driven by your values, to be driven by a vision for your life, to be driven by God. No, you go and you tell the others. That's where the restored man came from. These guys restored me. They helped me to restore my faith, my peace, my power, my presence, right? My masculinity. And it's my job now. I choose it, right? I choose it. I choose to share everything I have and everything I've learned with men who want the same thing, who were at the same place. Maybe they didn't lose their kids. Maybe their woman wasn't strung out on heroin, right? But maybe they just hit their last DUI and their girlfriend has kicked them out of their apartment. Maybe they are, filing for bankruptcy. Maybe they're depressed. Maybe they're addicted to alcohol, porn, cocaine, whatever, right? Maybe they are in their own rock bottom and they need someone to tell them, hey, it's okay. There's nothing wrong with you. And it's time to grow the fuck up. I don't care if you're 45. I don't care if you're 55. It's time to grow up and it's time to be a man. No, but we're all just people. Why can't I just be me? Shut up. Shut up. You were created with intention. Becoming the most that thing that you are is the greatest gift that you could leave to your family. That's where the restored man came from. It's me paying homage to all the men that have poured into me and helped me grow the fuck up.
Wow. Incredible, man. So where's the restored man at now? How long has it been? And where is it now?
It's existed for 6 years, but it's only really gotten good for like the last two, right? Because I've gotten good over the course of the last two. And we have a community, right? You're a part of it, and it's a community of very powerful men who meet up 3 weeks out of the month. That's the mastermind, right? That's the community aspect of it, but there's also a one-on-one coaching component to it. It's a personal development company. Essentially, that's what it is. What it is. It's a personal development company that specializes in restoring men back to their peace, their power and their presence, right? And we have a YouTube channel now, as inspired by you, who told me to, stop being a pussy and just to share this stuff and to share my message with the world. Because I don't care if I get one person watching this is worth it, right? And I know everybody says that, but I was that one person, you know? I was that one person in the darkness when somebody else decided to use their voice to share something that could help another human being. So there's a YouTube channel now, and there's now a podcast, again, inspired by you, right? Inspired by your challenge, your vision for me. And that's important. I want to offer this just to share this with anyone listening, is that when you say yes to your calling, angels will show up in ways that you can't begin to imagine. And what, but you're an angel. Whether you like it or not, whether you know it or not, you are an angel, because I never would have had the balls to do this. And I never would have thought of it as a possibility for me. You did. God sent you to magnify what's in my heart. And now the two of us are co creating a legacy of serving others. That's why. And that's what I want for every single man on earth, for them to say yes to God's calling in their heart. Stop fucking lying. Stop being wusses, and let angels magnify what's in their heart. And we keep this feedback loop of giving, sharing, loving, and leading. I'm connected today, man. Let's go. I'm in. I sold myself. Here, I'm gonna buy some from myself. Hell yeah. Hijo de su madre.
Bro, right back at you. You're an angel. You have saved me so many times, and you're still here. And it's funny because, like, when I wanna do something, you know my story, how it's been the last 12 months or so, and I get to dark places, and then you show up in those dark places as a light, and I'm like, I want to interview Richard. It's like, okay, there. So, thank you, man. You're awesome.
I am. Thank you, brother.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for what you do. And I'm so excited to share your knowledge and help other people do the same. Other people share their knowledge and give them this platform. And like I was saying to you, like, I'm good at that shit, getting all this stuff organized and getting people on media. And like, I love cameras and microphones and shit like that. It's like, cool, I can do it for other people. I can't do it, and I'll just do it for them. And then that's how I contribute, is putting a mic in front of people's faces and opening my heart and be like, all right, talk to me. Tell me your story. And you're my first. Thank you.
You never forget your first.
Thank you, brother. Thank you so much. Appreciate you sharing your story today. Got me laughing, got me tearing, got me thinking a lot. So I know it added a lot of value to me, and I know it'll add a lot of value to a lot of people listening.
I hope so.
Yeah, brother. So we'll edit it up, and we'll put all the bells and whistles, and then we'll continue in this journey of sharing different things in different episodes. Thank you, brother. Love you.